Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. Pretty grim rack, B, U and W. Very non-bingo-y. But I have the X and it's fairly balanced in terms of vowels and consonants. So, do I have a play here? I think Wux is better than changing. Rackley, pretty horrendous. I am looking to split up W and U, but I'd like to play off 2 out of B, U and W. And I'm not seeing a way of doing that. Always important not to rush this opening move, but I'm not seeing anything better than Wux. And at least the score is good. I am going with this. Well, that could have been worse. I do draw a couple of consonants. No bingo here. But if I can play it, wow, what a start for opponent, amazing. So, what am I going to do? Let me consider the floaters. I think it's just the R that's potentially useful. I have Breek, but that doesn't get doubled. So, I can play Bug, leaving a very vowel-heavy Rackley. I could get into a lot of trouble with this. And I don't need to do that. Butte would be better. T is better than G, but this is better from a vowel consonant perspective. Yeah, I am going with this. Great, I draw the Z. Rest of the rack not too fabulous, but at least I have vowels to go with the Z. Zex is good, Res is good. So I should be able to play something. Just wondering if I can play off several of these vowels. The trouble with a play of Zig or Zip is that it leaves a very vowel-heavy rack. There's nowhere fantastic for the Z. Onto an R, I would have Gazier. I've just blocked that with Butte. Pies is good. That gets rid of one more vowel than Zip. 2 takes nothing in front, so wow! Back-to-back bingos by opponent. Absolutely fantastic start for him. I do now have Gazier in column 15. Do I have a play which gets the Z doubled? Not sure I do. What about a play beginning with a Z? No. Zar is good. A weather is good. Well, I'm not seeing anything better than Gazier, and this is sorting out the vowel consonant balance. It's scoring 50 points. It's denying my opponent column 15. It's keeping the board open. Am I going with this? There's a double lane in column 11. Let me just pause. Do I have a double? No, I don't think I do. So Gazier for 51. Well, still a long way from a bingo. F and P don't go well together and aren't particularly bingo-y. And I don't have an E. But a play of Fop would sort the rack out. And opponent doesn't bingo. Big news. Okay, so I trail by 90, which isn't a disaster. Still a lot of tiles to come, including both blanks. So, how do I sort this rack out? Not seeing a double. Z takes nothing in front, otherwise I could have Fop. In fact, not seeing anywhere for fop. Chin hasn't provided anything really. Well, I do have fop here for a dismal score, but opening a new bingo lane. Rackley fairly reasonable for ends to come for an ing play. Not great keeping an equal number of vowels and consonants. And the score is rubbish, so do I have a better option? Wax takes an E for future reference. What about playing fizz? Keeping a consonant-heavy Rackley, which is good, creating new bingo lanes, scoring well. This is certainly better than fop. I am burning my eye, but the ing play isn't worth sacrificing a ton of points for. So I am going with fizz. And I draw another eye. I have adipose, which does play in rows B and D. Do I have an alternative bingo? Quite a few nice looking floaters in weather, and I'm looking at the consonants in particular. So how about the T? I feel like there could be one here. Not coming to mind. How about the H? No. So what else is there? There's the B of Butte. Wow, opponent's played somewhere. He has not blocked my bingo lanes. I was expecting a play ending FE, which would have taken out both lanes. Opponent has not done that. So I have a new lane for adipose in row J because of Tor. Well, that's not as good as row D. Rev takes an S. Do I have a bingo with this rack plus an A? No, I don't think I do. So let me get this down. Adipose for 79. And I dodge both blanks. Pullings is good, I think, but the G would need to be one square over. Nothing with the B. This looks a pretty unpromising rack. But a few candidate plays come to mind, like pullings and unspill, which I think is not good. And of course there's bill and bull as component parts of a word. And wow, I trail by only 6, opponent on turn. These blanks could be crucial, only 45 tiles left. And because both blanks are out there, I'm inclined to play quickly. Sorry, I'm inclined to go for tile turnover, which means playing more tiles. Phew, not a bingo, but opponent's up to the same lark, playing off lots of tiles. He's now had 6 chances of drawing a blank. So, what can I do? Torai takes an I. Wext takes nothing. This is going to be a tricky rack to score off, and I trail by 30. Unspill would play in row C, but I'm pretty sure it's not good. I'm not going to check it. What about playing pulling? What about this? Only 11 points, but I'm getting 6 shots at drawing the blank. And there are plenty of bingo lanes on the board, and there's nothing in pulling worth keeping. Or is there? Well, if I did want to keep something, I would at the very least want to split up the duplicate L, play off U and P. So Is there anywhere good for PLU? I accept that LINS is a better rack leave than just S. So anywhere great for PUL? No, PLU is good. UD isn't, otherwise PUL would sit quite nicely above adipose. Well, what about playing plug instead of pulling? Only one fewer point. And this rack goes pretty well with an A or an E. I think pulling was needlessly fishing for a blank. This is far more likely to have a bingo without a blank, or indeed with a blank, than a rack leave of just an S. So I am going with plug. Great, I have Luniest, Utensil, Untiles. And Luniest certainly plays in row C. Wow, opponents blocked that really nicely, 42 points, taking out all the bingo lanes at the top. Do I have, and Wex takes nothing, Rev only takes an S. So has opponent taken out all of my bingo lanes? What about the B? Not seeing anything with that. Wow, that was a great play by opponent. Again, turning over masses of tiles. How about the U? Not seeing anything. So, T, H, and E. Well, what about the A, first of all, because Revs is good. Alanites, that doesn't work. So, how about the T? Not seeing anything. 10 minutes on my clock. How about the H? No. How about the E? And it doesn't have to begin with the E. Wow, how frustrating. So let me consider row K. It's Utensil. That doesn't work. Untiles. Luniest. Just nothing. How frustrating is that? Just when everything worked out in terms of having a bingo rack, but that's credit to opponent. And I've only got 1 point tile, so I'm going to struggle to score. 10 minutes on my clock. What about a play beginning S something T? No. Now, what about bust line? What about bust line? It is good. I know it's good. Bust line for 83. Bang! Fantastic. I so nearly missed that. And I've drawn cablers. Wow. That would have been gutting to have missed. I would have felt in the post-match review if I'd missed that that was the miss which cost me the game. And it may well have done if I had missed it, but I haven't. And I move into the lead. But there are still 2 blanks out there. An opponent has been turning over tiles for Turkey. Wow, 47 points, great score. And he's opened a spot here for an A. I have one. But do I have a bingo? First of all, I do have cablers. That is good. It doesn't play in row A. It doesn't play anywhere. But, wow. Oh, wow. I thought I had B Rascal, but that's through an A, not an E. I trail by 30. Let me initially, I have 9 minutes, 20 tiles to come. I'm in reasonable shape, but let me consider what I can score in row A with a non-bingo, putting an A above Ged. Rami is good. Nothing else is that I've got. So I could play Belar, turning over tiles for the blank. 45 points, so not bingoing is not a disaster. But let me consider this E. Do I have anything? Not that I can see. How about the H? No. T? No. B and C don't go great together. It really is the double ending. Birascal is a bit of a rarity. There is the A for Birascal, but I don't think it has an anagram. Let me consider the floaters in bust line. Nothing with the L. How about the I? No. N. No. And E. Already considered. Well, what about Caber? Ah, it's not EJ. I do need an A in this spot. So Belar's what I'm thinking of. 45 points. Is there a way of eking any more out? CS is a pretty good rack leave. Let me check the remaining vowels. 10 out of 28, so it's vowel dry. But there are floating vowels on the board. Blair is also good in this spot. Is there an anagram of cablers? No. Well, I'm through a B. I would have Scrabble. Where I blocked it with bust line. What a shame. I don't think I've ever played that. Anyway, Belar for 45. Dodge all the blanks, all the vowels, and that not only is it painful in itself, but it means opponent has probably got a pretty decent rack. And I only lead by 14. And I am really going to struggle with this rack. Well, there's the O of toroid, so I could play noddy. Sorting the rack out to some extent, but I'm really worried by the remaining tiles and the openness of the board. But opponent doesn't bingo yet, and there's still V, Y, and F to come to my rescue. So how can I turn over a ton of tiles? Coddy not good, moddy not good, so it's just noddy. $20 points, barely okay. But these are nice tiles. If I dodge F, V, Y, and G, I could be in good shape. So noddy for 20. And I draw most of those, the V and the G. I think this is a lost game, even though I lead at this point. The remaining tiles are almost impossible not to bingo with now. But if opponent doesn't bingo right now, maybe I can take out some lanes. Tricky. Very tricky. Not very much I can do with this rack. Just 10 tiles in the bag. And 15 minutes on opponent's clock, so he's got plenty of time to find a bingo. Doesn't play one. Interesting. 7 tiles left. Very interesting. But what can I do to sort this rack out? I could change. I only trail by 17. I could change. And then opponent would be drawing all of this if he bingos. There are literally 7 tiles in the bag. So if I change 6, I would know that he would, if he bingoed, he would have CGMNV on his rack. And surely there's the remaining tiles, the remaining 14 tiles represent 2 bingos. Yeah, and there are some great lanes on the board, the D of noddy and floaters in weather. I see no reason to continue with this rack. Am I engaging in completely false reasoning? So what do I keep? I don't keep V or G or M. C, if opponent bingos, C is going to be a tricky tile. So although it's a good bingo tile, I think I'll get rid of it. I'm going to get rid of N and O as well. Yeah, and hope I dodge the Y. I draw both blanks. Wow. And a ton of vowels. Interesting. So, do I have only 4 minutes on my clock? Gosh, this is going to be a struggle to find a bingo with this. Great, I can see what opponent's got. He's got junk. The bag's empty. If I bingo, I think I win. But do I have a bingo? Do I have a bingo? So, where to look? 4 minutes on my clock. Does Sokeya take an S? I don't think it does, but I'm going to try it. It doesn't. Anywhere for a 7? No. Tinselry, 3 consecutive consonants, so E in second place, that will be a 5-vowel 8. It's got to be the R of Tinselry, surely. So, yeah, I think I have Olearias. Is it going to score enough, though? 58 points. That would take me to 428. I would trail by 33. I would need 17 on count back. I only get 30 on count back. So 30 on count back. Let me check this. 3 minutes. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I get 30 on count back, 400. I need 61 to draw. This only scores 58. Any bingo through the D should do it. I'm just going to check one. This rack plus a D. Two minutes on my clock. Do Piazzas, that's been blocked. This rack plus a D. I am absolutely convinced that there is a winning play here. Plays beginning ET. No, the R play wasn't enough. A Y play. Not seeing one. Any other lanes? No. Let me come back to D. And it's got to begin 2 places to the left of D. So what if it begins soda? Not seeing anything. I'm going to have another look through the alphabet. D in 3rd place. Mandiocas. Not seeing anything. 40 seconds left. How frustrating. I think there is a winning play here. Okay. What about beginning with a vowel? Not seeing it. How frustrating. How frustrating. So close. And the final score, 458 to me, 461 to my opponent, a winning margin of 3 points, so well done to my opponent. Let's see what I missed. There had to be a better play at the end there. Just had to be. So it was me to go first, and Bowie pretty good. And Ibex also pretty good, but Wox, same score, not much between those. Great start for opponent with Urinate. And now I play Butte, which looks fine, but H1 Beget available. 9 more points, but keeping IU. How does IU compare to EGI? Well, IU's pretty awful. I would say that's close to -10. EGI also negative, maybe -3 or 4. So maybe a 6-point difference and a 9-point difference in score. Not terribly much between them. Opponent's rack. Plays Weather. Could have played Weatherer through RE. Now I trail by 100. But I have Gazier for 51 and nothing scores more, apart from Zia. Opponent's rack plays Chin. Now, I didn't like this rack. What do? I play Fizz for 30. And I'm only 60 behind, so there is still time for me. Opponent plays Rev. And I have Adipose. What was also available, was F3 or top seed through UT. Wow, that's a tricky one. But Adipose scored most. And now I trail by 6. Opponent plays Toroid. No bingo here. What do? I play Plug for 10, which is way off the pace. And C9. Oh, wow. I could have played Pull here above Adipose using the same tiles. And I was looking at it above ADI, but not above IPO for 21 points. And that's probably worth doing. It's 11 more points. In favour of Plug is that it's creating a new bingo lane. But I don't think that's good enough because Pull, although it's obstructing row C, isn't taking it out. So I think Pull would have been better. Opponent's rack plays Chemo. And now I trail by 60. And I have this rack, and Bust Line is the only bingo. I was so close to missing that. And now I'm in the lead. And I'm with 2 blanks out there. With each move, I'm expecting opponent to bingo. But he was a long way away from a bingo-y rack. But he does score well. Now, nowhere for Cablers, but A7. Back. Cammy's good. Not just Rami, but Cammy. Keeping ELRS. I play Belar. But back would have been better retaining that vowel. There's only 2 E's to come. Opponent plays Joe. So let's just go back. Opponent's still a long way from a bingo. Interesting. Now, my rack, and I play Noddy here. I could have played Nim, but 3 consonants, a lot better than 4. Wow! Missed bingo through the E of Weather. Reflates. That was a let-off for me. And here we go. There are 7 tiles in the bag. And 2 blanks unseen. I have an awful rack, and I change, and I still like that because I think there's a huge chance I'll bingo on my final move, and there's a good chance that will win the game. Great spot by opponent, his only bingo. Wow. And now here we go, the moment of self-torture as I reveal all of the winning plays that I missed. So, what did I need? I needed 61 to draw. There were no wins. There were no draws or wins. Oliarias was the second best play. And the only play to score more was E14 through this E, Air Radios, in which case I would have lost by 1 instead of 3. Wow! I was not expecting that. I was convinced that there was a winning play. And look at this, an absolute ton of bingos, and none of them score enough. And most of them are in row L through this R. In fact, all of them, I think. So yeah, it's all the plays through the R. Bavarois, Satuaris, Sorbaria, and Razorial, Rosarian, and Uakaris, but they're all failing to make the grade. And it's interesting, you lose by 1 or 3 points, and then you reflect back on plays like Plug, where you gave up about 10 points, and whenever you lose by a tiny margin, you're reminded of those plays when more points were available. Anyway, super exciting game. There definitely were chances to win going into the end game, and maybe if I'd retained the C as well as the S when I changed, those extra 3 points could have helped me score enough to win. Anyway, super interesting game. Many thanks to my opponent for a great battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.